Okay, so welcome back down the garage, or Richard's garage again, where the E46 has made itself quite at home. She's getting very comfy in the corner there. No one's fault, really. Over the last couple of weeks, nature's played a big part in it, in the sense that we had an almighty downpour which flooded access in or out of the village, so no one could get in. At the same time, Richard's workshop flooded, so we had to tend to that. And with all that happening, and the fact that parts have turned up wrong and things like that, it just meant that it was massively delayed, and Rich was sort of trying to piece things together when he could around jobs and things like that. So it's been a couple of weeks since I've done a video for that reason alone, really. We ordered backing plates because I broke one. They turned up wrong, so we had to order other ones. The radiator turned up wrong. It was for a pre-facelift E46, so we had to order another one. And while he was doing work on the cooling system, he noticed that some of the things were just not A-OK to put back in as they were or leave there. So we've had to revamp that entire side of things, essentially, which I'll show you in a second. So anyway, I'll flip the camera on and say, oh, also the newest purchase is this thing. New gimbal. So I can no longer blame my poor video in on the device. So no excuses anymore. We'll see how it plays out. Anyway, I'll flip the camera around and we'll get into the more interesting stuff. Right, so here she is. So we'll whip through a few of the bits that we've done while the car's on the floor, then the rest of it I need to show you when it's in the air. So anyway, we were having a fiddle down the front here because we were looking at what to do with brake cooling, and it actually turns out, I didn't actually know this, but the E46 has got the, I don't know if this is SE only, I'm not sure, the standard sort of factory air duct there. So I think what we'll do is probably manipulate that in some sort of way to run another pipe that will go on to the upgraded backing plates that we're going to buy. Now the backing plates, I can't remember where they're from, but it's a company in the Netherlands actually, and we might just run a secondary one from that fog light there. We might not, but at least there's a provision there anyway. That should be easy enough to sort out. This side, the fog light's going to come out tomorrow because that is going to feed our cold air pipe work there to the ram air induction kit. So that'll come out tomorrow, and then that'll work as the main or secondary cold air feed, because the induction kit sits in here, of course, and then you get the standard factory one from inside the grill there. So I'll have two feeds for that. There is some work that's gone on in the engine bay, actually, quite a lot. So if I set the torch down, I can show you. Excuse me, here we go. So first things first, oil filter housing, renewed, new gasket, obviously new filter in there and everything. The car's been fully serviced, just got to do the plugs, spark plugs tomorrow. But that's brand new because it was leaking. The oil filter housing gasket was leaking. If you saw the last video, you'll see all that oil on the underneath of the car was subject to that thing there. So that's been done. The new drive belt's been done. We've got this here is a brand new header tank or expansion tank, because while you're in there and we're replacing everything else, may as well do that. They crack for a pastime on the E46. That shiny silver thing there, of course, is the new radiator. This is actually the incorrect one, but fear not, the correct one is there, so it will come out of the box and go in the car tomorrow. The difference between the facelift and the pre-facelift is, this being the pre-facelift one, the fixings are different on the bottom. You won't be able to see from here. But anyway, it leaks as it is, so that's got to come out. We've also done this little jobby. This is the Vanos line. So this is a Hell braided Vanos line. It just replaces the horrible factory rubbish that is subject to breaking quite frequently. So that's been done. New thermostat and new water pump is on as well. So, like I say, a little bit earlier than we expected to do it, but the cooling system's now been revamped. So obviously that'll get filled up with new coolant and bled and everything tomorrow. If we go on this side, let me grab the old torch there. It's easier to see because if you haven't noticed already, there's quite the gap there, and that's because Rich has ripped all the air condition out. So the condenser's gone, all the pipe work's gone, so that's going to save us a little bit of weight, definitely, and increase sort of airflow so we can keep the engine bay temps down. Obviously, if you're going to do that yourself, then you need to make sure that you have the gas drained before, or you're qualified to do so. Just put that little health and safety note in there. Of course, Rich is qualified to do such. This big empty space here, if you've got an E46 or you're familiar with E46s, you probably know that there's what they call a secondary air pump here. It's actually a unit that I think looks similar to this sort of setup, really. It sits there and it sends ambient air through a pipe that goes through there, and it sends it into the manifold cats. I believe it's for emissions. It's primarily for the US market, I think. But anyway, because we don't really care about that, we've ripped it out. So you will need to blank that off. We've got the blanking kit over here, which you just buy direct from BMW actually. They sell the kit off the shelf, and you just need this gasket and this blanking plate. Nice and easy. And then you can do a secondary air pump delete. Easy job that. So that will save us a little bit of weight as well. Not much, but every little helps. What else have we done? I think engine bay wise, that's it, if I'm not forgetting something. Like I say, most of the work's been done underneath, so I'll show you. We spent a lot of time tonight doing, or Rich did, should I say. New handbrake shoes and cables are on. The brakes were all bled up, the handbrake was adjusted. And inside, this is one of my favourite new additions. We didn't get a chance to see it last time because it wasn't here, so Rich went and picked it up and it's in. Is this little beauty. So that is the gravity short shifter, which is an awesome mod. It gets rid of that horrible long throwy feeling gearbox. The shifter, so the standard factory shifter is, yeah, it's awfully long throw. So that's really, really quite tight, that. Yeah, it's very nice. Feels very racy. And I don't know if we showed you before, but the OMP TRSE seats are in. I think they're a great looking seat and a sort of an entry-level motorsport seat, really. They're not very expensive off the shelf. We actually picked those up along with the side mounts there as part of a package. Greg found them on Facebook Marketplace, so we went to get those. It was 400 quid for the pair. You probably noticed that if you watched the last video when we priced everything up. Everything's still out in the rear, of course. We shan't be putting any of that back in. Fuel tank's back in. I'll show you that underneath in a minute. But the reinforced shock tower mounts are in. So that actually came as part of the Powerflex bush kit. So that's a must for an E46, especially if you're going to put it through the sort of toil that we are. They are known for smashing through, especially if you put coilovers on. It's obviously got standard shocks on it now, but if you put coilovers on, it just bangs through, and you have to sort of get things re-welded, and it's just a mess apparently by all accounts. So that was advised as a necessity by Rich and many others, so we've done that. I think that's about it for work while she's on the floor. If I pop her in the air now, we'll take a look at the rest of it. Right, okay, let's pop to the back of the car then so I can show you. So if you've been following the series, this is probably the first time you've seen the rear wheel on the car. Because everything's been off. The whole underside has been out of the car. So this shot previous to today looked completely different. The whole rear end from the gearbox back was out on the bench because we gave Rich a mammoth task to rebush everything. While it was all off, I replaced what I had to and I refurbished what I could. So underneath the car, the whole thing's been rust treated and undersealed. If components haven't been replaced, they've been refurbished unless they're due to be replaced. So for instance, the exhaust, standard exhaust is back on because we haven't got the budget to throw a new exhaust at it yet, but it is obviously on the shopping list. It's a bit sad really to have to put the standard exhaust back on. We have put new clamp gaskets and bolts in, but yeah, the original exhaust had to be put on. Like I say, a bit sad because inevitably it will come out anyway, but we needed something on there. The rear end assembly, as I said, has all been completely rebushed. So there's the E46 ball joints there. That's the lower one, and the upper one just over up in there, look, with a little purple band on it, if you can see. Suspension, we haven't cleaned because we're going to change it. The calipers we haven't cleaned because we're either going to paint those a different color or change those. The backing plates, they were brand new. And if you can see the little silver thing protruding there, that is actually the part that I broke off the old ones, which is why we had to actually replace those, but I'm glad we did because it looks so much better. But the suspension arms, they've been refurbed. The anti-roll bar there has been refurbished. The drive shafts have been painted. The rear camber arms have been replaced with these max speeding rods, adjustable ones, so they've been greased and installed. The rear axle carrier, the powder coated one's in with all the poly bushes around it. The diff casing I painted. It's had new fluid in it. Rear trailing arms have been painted. So I've hammer-righted all those. Everything essentially underneath that came off has been rust treated, painted or undersealed. All the chassis underneath these heat shields have been undersealed. If you look at the last video, you'll see new brake lines are in all the way from the front to the back. New fuel filter there. But that's actually the reason that we can't get the car down and start it tomorrow. We can get it down, but we can't start it because there, look, The Jubilee clip is missing. The old one was no good, more bushes, and we haven't got one in the workshop the right size, so I'm having to pick one of those up tomorrow. But yeah, all the old oils come off, all the fluids have been done, new diff, new gearbox and engine oil, and yeah, that's basically the fruits of our labour as you see it there. So I wanted to show that, because if I don't, then like I say, once you put the car on the floor, you can't tell that anything's been done really, because it's all hidden away, but absolutely necessary. It made sense to start there because it's probably one of the nastier things to undertake, the full bushing of the car. And to be quite frank, when I spoke to Rich earlier, he said unless it was for this sort of project, he would probably advise against someone doing it all at once, because it's just such a mammoth task. If you've been following the series, you'll know that, well, it's taken 6 or 7 videos so far to get this far, and all of us have spent several hours on the car getting it just to this stage. But I'm very happy to report that after today, she should be on the floor tomorrow, and we can roll her out the workshop, get her in the sunshine and check it all out. But yeah, a necessity to do. Like I say, we started with what I think is probably going to be the hardest bit, because it's just so labor intensive, all of that. The bush kit altogether has probably got 1,200 quid's worth of bushes on it, including the poly bushes for the gear linkage. But listen, it had to be done, didn't it? It absolutely had to be done. Handling's a big part of making a car competitive, and you need the chassis as stiff as possible within reason. Anyway, I'm talking to you now, so I'll flip the camera around so I can talk to you properly. Yes, hello. Yes, that's better. So yeah, as you saw there, I wanted to show you that because it's nice to be able to show in this state how much time and effort we've put into the car. So I won't repeat myself and go on about it, but if you wanted to get an idea of physically what we've endured to get the car to where it is, then check out the other videos by all means. If you're watching them so far, thank you very much. I sincerely hope you're enjoying them. But a massive thanks to Rich at Bull Motor Works and John. We really couldn't do it without you guys. As you've known, if you've been watching, Greg and I aren't the frontiers in mechanics, and you'll know that if you've been watching, I've broken more than I've fixed, but that's how we learn, isn't it? Some people learn like that, and that's how I learn. But anyway, yeah, so thank God for those guys. Yeah, anyway, in summary, super happy with how the build's come on so far. Me and Greg are over the moon to think that tomorrow the car will be on the floor. We can actually start it, hear her running and move her around. So, yeah. It's been sort of a labour of love, but not really. I mean, we're car guys anyway, so I've quite enjoyed coming down here of an evening or a weekend and spending some time fiddling with a car and breaking bits and painting bits and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm over the moon with where we got so far. And I'm pleased with the componentry. I really am. Like I say and said from the start, and I keep saying, it is a budget build. Not in the sense that we're trying to build a banger to race, but just in the sense that we haven't got the budget to throw at these builds what some of the big boys do. You know, with the bushes and stuff like that. We're using Powerflex Black Series, and some guys use the, you know, whatever they are, the hard race, like the rose joints and stuff like that. But God, it's £300 a pair of bushes, and flipping heck, I'll be doing two bushes a month. It's crazy. It's crazy. If you can do it, then great. But yeah, we can, and that's what the series is all about for us. It's about documenting how we're building a race car on a budget to get it to the Road Sport series and have some competitive fun in it. So I think I'll summarise it there and say thanks very much for watching. If you are, please do leave a like and subscribe if you're enjoying the channel so far. I sincerely welcome any and all comments within reason, but this is proper new for me. I've never really done anything like this before, video diary, vlog, thingamajig, whatever you want to call it. So feedback's definitely helpful, and yeah, I'd like to know what would make things better or more entertaining. I said at the start that the purpose for this was really for mine and Greg's benefit, but seeing as it is out there for people to see, then it doesn't hurt to have positive criticism, is the way I look at it. Every day is a school day. So yes, thank you again. Anyway, I'll say that's it for now, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next video.